Here in Denver, Colorado, we are covering CPAC, Colorado. Honored to be joined by Carly Fiorina. Carly, you used to head HB. You're a Romney surrogate. You also ran for Senate. Tell me, what was harder, running HP or running for Senate?
Well, they're different, obviously, and both were a huge privilege. But honestly, what was most disheartening to me about running in the state of California, not just that I lost, obviously I would have preferred to have won, but the difficult shape that California is in now. And I think if anyone who's undecided looks at the state of California, they see proof positive of what happens when liberal policies are permitted to go awry year after year after year. We have double-digit unemployment and entitlements that are choking the state. We have 4 cities already bankrupt. I mean, it's just a terrible mess, and that's what we have to look forward to as a nation if Barack Obama is reelected.
You know, we hear, I was lucky enough to interview Governor Perry of Texas at the RNC, and he says bring them on. All these companies moving out of California to Texas, from other states to Texas. The exodus out of California, as a former Californian, you know, it's got to bother you.
Oh, it does. It's awful because what's left behind are people in real need. You know, the state of California now is literally reduced to worrying about the Facebook stock price because they had counted on that IPO to fill their tax revenues, and of course it hasn't. When I was the CEO of Hewlett-Packard, I was very proud to expand our facilities in Texas. Governor Perry worked tirelessly to make sure that Texas had a business-friendly environment, and I didn't expand facilities in California because it's simply too hard to do business there. And that's what Barack Obama promises for the entire nation.
You, a former captain of industry, I would say, you know, you hear that there is trillions of dollars in money being sat on right now, waiting to the outcome of the election. Is that true? And what would happen if Governor Romney were to win the presidential election?
Well, I think there's trillions of dollars waiting on the sidelines for certainty around policy. And, you know, if you're a CEO, you can invest your money, you can give your money back to shareholders, or you can sit on it. The least productive thing you can do is sit on it. So when we have all these companies just waiting around with cash, it means they're saying the policies in place right now don't give us something to be excited about investing in. So, of course, the first step is we need a new man in the White House. But beyond that, then President Romney has to be able to execute some of his plans. And that's why, honestly, in addition to the White House, regaining control of the Senate is so important, which I work very hard on now as vice chairman of the Republican Senatorial Committee, because President Romney needs a Republican Senate that he can go to and get tax reform passed and regulatory reform passed, so those businesses have more confidence.
When you see stories out of North Dakota about the record unemployment and people cannot get there fast enough because, you know, of the energy exploration there, and you know, it does seem to be that if you just get government out of the way and you eliminate the regulations, you can really build a very prosperous economy.
Well, you know, I thought Governor Romney was particularly strong on this point last night because he said the truth. A free market to work well needs some regulation. There need to be some rules of the road. And certainly as we exploit our natural resources in this country, we need some regulation to make sure that we do so in an environmentally responsible way. But what we have now is an administration that is hostile to the production of energy, particularly natural gas, coal, fossil fuel. We've seen it. I think it's amazing that President Obama has poured $90 billion of taxpayer money into clean, green energy, all of which is going nowhere and can't solve the problem on its own. So the key is the right amount of regulation and the right regulations, and it's clear we have way too much. It's a thicket that's killing businesses of all sizes.
Carly, as a woman yourself, when you hear the term war on women and that the Republicans are waging a war on women, what is it like to be a Republican woman and hear that statement?
You know, I have to say it just enrages me. And it enrages me because I think the Democratic Party honestly has done, sadly, a masterful job of manipulating women, too many women, into believing that they are single-issue voters. Whether you are pro-life or pro-choice, I happen to be pro-life. But wherever you are on that issue, women balance the checkbooks at home, so they know the deficit is a problem. Women make the healthcare decisions, so they understand their healthcare premiums are going up. Women are half the workforce now. Women worry about their child's education. The point is, women care about all issues. We're not a special interest group. And so I think as Governor Romney, as all of our candidates all across this nation talk about the issues that women care about, jobs, healthcare, education, more and more women will understand, you know what, I've gotten hurt under President Obama. There are more women living in poverty today than in the last almost 2 decades, and it's gotten worse under this president.
Right now we're standing in Colorado. You talk about Florida. You talk about Ohio. What does Mitt Romney need to do to win these key swing states?
He needs to do more of what he did last night. He was fantastic last night, and he was fantastic because first, he has the facts. He has the specifics. You know, Obama wanted to say, well, where are your specifics? My goodness. Romney buried Obama in facts and specifics. But it wasn't just a stream of data. What he did so well was relate those facts and those specifics and those programs to people's lives. If we do this with energy, it will mean 4 million jobs. Your regulation over here, President Obama, has cost 700,000 jobs. Why were you focused on a bad health care bill when we saw record unemployment? That's what he needs to continue to do, and he needs to show that he is, as he is, a decent, caring man who knows now what needs to be done.
Last question. As the former head of HP, I'm going to assume that you do well financially. You're in the dreaded 1%. When did we get to the point in this country where we demonize the rich, and it's almost it's a bad thing to be successful and to make money? And when you look at Occupy, they hate the rich. Why is it bad to be a successful person in America these days?
Well, let's be fair and say that there have been some real excesses. I mean, I understand why people are outraged when you see some of the corruption on Wall Street and in other businesses and see people walk away with no consequences and huge paychecks that nobody can justify. So I understand that. And I have called for a very long time for more accountability. On the other hand, this is an old Democratic playbook. When I was running for the Senate in California, Barbara Boxer would say all the time, oh, well, she's rich, she's this, she's that. And my point today is the same point I made back then. This is a country where we should celebrate success if it's earned the old-fashioned way. You work hard for it and you make a contribution. The goal is to give everyone an opportunity to succeed. The goal is to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to live the American dream. And I think all of us are engaged in the political process because we believe right now the American dream has gotten too hard for too many people.
Carly Fiorina, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
My pleasure.